all you Magi-geddoners? We'll work on it. Magistrates, I don't know. We'll figure out scavengers, because that's basically what you are in Magi-geddon now. Yeah. We just had our first playtest last week. I mean, the big playtest. Characters were created. A basic world map was developed into a point crawl system using index cards. There was a PC death. I had to work on my armor values, readjust, rethink some things. Yeah, it went about as not perfect as a playtester could go. Also realized that I really needed a starting setting for the players and a driving mechanic to get them to go, hey, we're here, we need to go get artifacts, and why would they be getting artifacts? So I created a city on the edge of an ocean. The ocean is called the Lucent Sea, and the city itself is surrounded by what I call the Withering Dunes. So it's going to have kind of a Mad Max Tatooine wizards kind of dune feel to it. There's going to be certain homages to all of those. Because after the playtest, I had to sit back and like, okay, I've got to think of these things. I got to develop them and put them into the game. So the city itself is called Rustok, and it's the city of scraps. And it's this huge city that's ever growing. And instead of growing horizontally, it's been growing vertically. So there's towers upon towers upon towers of higgly-piggly scrap metal and wood. And there's like bridges of uncertain construction connecting towers to towers. Each tower is almost like its own neighborhood. And centered around the biggest tower of them all, the Palace Leviathan, where the Tsar lives. And in front of the Palace Leviathan is this obsidian half-buried black sphere surrounded by a wall. And it's called the Fell, F-E-L-L, Vault. And the city's guard, the wardens, as I call them, they're the best, kind of guard both the palace and this vault. What's in there? GM's eyes only. So when I release the public alpha version, the GMs will be able to see what's in that vault. The city itself is made of 4 enclaves, and each enclave is kind of governed by a trade prince. Each trade prince, in turn, report to the Tsar, and they are collectively known as the Exchange. They handle all the import and exports, the pricing, the selling of these artifacts that are being scavenged and found throughout the Withering Dunes and other surrounding areas. This is very reminiscent of, let's say, the gold rush of 1849, where everybody is coming here to gather up whatever artifacts they can find, even pieces of just civilizations from centuries past, to try to make coin. Also to try to bring magic back. Some researchers want to try to bring magic back from the other lands, so on. But anyway, Rustok is the center of all of this. Each enclave, like I said, is ruled by a trade prince. They also have their own deity, their own god. And with entropy, when magic left, entropy crept into the world. So that these gods are having a very decidedly Lovecraftian theme kind of running through them. They have one name that they are known as these. I'll give you an example. The Volke, who's the Eastern Enclave god, is known as the Consummate Goat, the Beggar, and Midnight Rags. And the trade prince there is the trade prince Ghazal, who's very tall and he wears dark robes, very dark robes, and wears a silver goat mask with luminescent red eyes, the horns and everything. He's never seen without it. In fact, he's very rarely seen at all. He usually runs meetings and everything else through proxies or through like this magically created hologram, for lack of a better word. So Rustok is being developed. I have the basics in place, and I'm developing a drop-down menu where you open the book and you will drop dice. Land on these different buildings, and you can create a neighborhood slash tower, however I'm going to finalize it. And the GM can run their players through an urban crawl, or if they're searching for something in the city, you can create it. There's also going to be certain on the drop down, certain buildings are going to have like certain timers for certain events, certain encounters that are going to happen. So in timer dice, I'm going to bring up in another video down the road, but timer dice basically is a dice determined by the GM that something's going to happen at the end of, say you roll D4 and you roll 3 turns, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 minutes, whatever the timer that the GM needs, it's going to count down. And this is to develop a living world, or the feeling of a living world, or a living dungeon, anything like that. So the city itself, I want it to be a large, almost living NPC. In fact, I want it to be the first major NPC the players interact with. So I'm treating Rostock as their first NPC. All that will be included in the first public access, which I hope is coming next week. Just depends on how much I can get done this week. So far, we haven't hit our busy season with my real work. And yes, I am a real chef. We're in South Louisiana. Crawfish season is coming up. I'm going to be super busy once that starts. But before then, hopefully the public access of the pre-alpha playtest rules will be available. And that will probably be on my Patreon page, which I'm developing right now. Neither here nor there. Now, for the mechanics to why I want the player, or why the players are going out there risking all for coin and maybe renown, which I'm going to get into. Well, let's go ahead and talk about renown. I'm thinking about changing the term level to renown. That way, the more renown you gain, level, so to speak, the more higher ups will take notice of you, and the better jobs, I guess, in a way, you will get. Also, maybe certain other things will take notice of you out there in the beyond. So I figured renown was a better terminology. I haven't stuck on that yet. Let me know in the comments below what you think, levels or renown, or anything about this video. Let me know in the comments below. Going back to why the players should risk life and limb for coin, artifacts, power. Well, obviously to gain power. But also, once the players have all created the characters and you've got the basic world mapped out, and they're now here in Rostock, about to begin their adventure to find artifacts and so on. It's a debt mechanic. The GM's going to roll a D4 and consult the table, and the party owes a debt to that trade prince. The party leader would then roll D666, which is going to give you a value of 111 to 666 times 10. And that's going to be the amount of debt the party owes to that trade prince. The trade prince is going to want 5% every week. There's also certain conditions, like if the party doesn't pay or can't pay, it escalates into something very, very bad. That's already kind of in the game. It's still being fully developed, but it'll be developed once a public access is made. So I needed that in there to kind of like, oh, get off your butts, go out there and adventure. And there's also going to be a very small economic, I don't want to say simulator, but for lack of a better word, where you make sure the players are keeping up with where they live. Like they have to actually make sure they're paying copper for it. That's in there. I guess lifestyle, economic lifestyle. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Something along those lines. Also during the playtest, I realized my armor values were overtuned to a degree that was detrimental. We lost a player in the first hit. So I adjusted the armor values, and that also got me thinking about down the road magic armor. I want the armor value to be cut off at 5 right now. It was 7, but now it's down to 5. But if you get like +4 or +1, +2 magic armor, that's really going to raise it up. So instead, like the weapons have sigils which proc. You roll D6, and if you roll a 6, the weapon sigil goes off. Whether it's, say, it's mark, sigil marking. You strike and it goes off. That means that target's going to have. They have to shift down one. Excuse me. No, mark means the next attacker gets advantage, and works a little bit different because there's no roll to attack. It's all damage rolls, and then you subtract the armor value from the incoming damage, and that's how much damage it is. So combat is made very quick and very deadly. So it's up to the players to, like, do I want to proceed or should we retreat? That's a whole nother chapter. Next chapter, actually, it's going to be all about combat and sigils and armor wards. But anyway, armor wards are like sigils. You place them on your armor. Anytime you take damage, they have a chance to proc. And they could provide resistances. They could provide different effects instead of giving you like a flat +1, +2. I don't like that because as I started thinking about it, there's really no magic left in the world. So it doesn't make sense for any magic items to be on all the time. Other than that, the playtest went well. I thought the combat was very fluid, very fast, very deadly. Like I said, we lost a person to a giant tentacle. No hentai stuff. Just slapped him right out. Next playtest will be coming up this week with all the new mechanics I added, plus the settings. So there'll be an update to that on the next video, just a small update, and then we'll go into weapon sigils, armor wars, and combat. I'm trying to think what else. That's about it. The 5e adventure module campaign rating in my top 10 is written and ready, scripted, I should say, and ready to go. So I'll probably shoot that next week after the update, or maybe before. I may just go ahead and shoot it if I have time. And then, of course, update, and then hopefully there will be a public access pre-alpha playtest for you guys that I can link for y'all to check out. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. Oh, yes. There is an official soundtrack in the works for Magi-geddon. Good grief, I can't talk. Magi-geddon. It may be a while before it comes out. I'll post links once it's ready. I'm excited. It's going to be kind of a dark, psychedelic dungeon synth, which I'm totally into. Can't wait for that to happen. That's about it. Yeah. My crap over there. If you like this video, hit that like. I hope you'll subscribe because we're on this big journey of making an RPG, and I cannot wait till it releases. I'll see you next week. Thank you.